We all thought that Elon Musk's AI team was going to be under Twitter, but it looks like it's its own separate corporation. Plus, Elon Musk drops hints that Dojo might be a big part of X.AI. Elon says that the continuing price cuts on the Model Y and Model 3 are not a price war, but what they've always aimed to do. And there's a little thing called a Starship launch that could be happening as soon as tomorrow morning. Let's take a look. Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. Without further ado, let's start with the Starship launch. We've got some beautiful pictures from SpaceX here. And of course, I had to throw in there, let's light this candle, which was what Alan Shepard said when they did the original Mercury launch. So we've got some beautiful pictures here. And of course, I'll put a link to all of this stuff in the description so you can go look on your own time. But anyway, that's an absolute, it looks like science fiction, basically. It's pretty amazing. And then we have a little bit of a longer shot, which is absolutely beautiful. This thing is like really, it looks weird without fins, I have to say. You know, you think about the Saturn V, anything that big, it just had fins on it. So I know you don't need them at all anymore, but in my mind, at least, it does look a little odd that the booster does not have fins, but you know, again, I understand rationally why, but it's just one of those things where I look at it and I'm like, seems like it should have some fins down there at the bottom. And another beautiful shot that shows just how many people are here for the launch, right? There's a lot of people taking a look at this Starship here. And in the background, you can see the mid bay, the high bay, etc. So anyway, it's a really pretty shot. And it sort of gives you a general sense of what the area looks like. And then one more kind of artsy shot that's in black and white. So people have asked, no, I cannot go. I'm way too busy in April. I hope if things go well that maybe they'll do another launch this summer. So I will definitely go to that if they have another launch this summer. But sadly, I'll be actually dropping my child off at school if it launches on time. So I told him he's going to have to get up early so that he can get there a few minutes early so I can go in the parking lot and at least watch it on my phone as I'm there. But for anybody who is going to be there, Scott Walter actually is on his way right now, so go find him. Next up, we have an interesting tweet from Tom Randall saying that Tesla has started a price war between battery and internal combustion engine cars, or ICE cars, and it's just getting started. And Elon responded to this in a way that I think is actually really worth noting. He says, Tom, we're not starting a price war. We're just lowering prices to enable affordability at scale. So just to bring up the graph, what we're looking at here is the Model 3 trending prices. And you can see they originally started at higher than the Model Y was when the Model Y rolled out like a year later or so. But anyway, you can see how over time it went down. And then we have 2022, which by the way was rather flat until 2022. You can see that both of them went up excessively. And somewhere around a year ago, I don't remember exactly the date, Elon said, the prices are embarrassingly high right now. There was a double thing going on. Number one, it was very difficult to get parts, materials, etc. So that was increasing the prices of everything. And number two, Tesla had such ridiculous wait times that they had to adjust prices to try to reduce demand so that they wouldn't have excessive wait times of like 6, 8, 10 months or something like that. So they're constantly adjusting prices to try to get just the right amount of people, purchasing the cars, but also to pass on any savings they get. And the cost of materials and the availability of materials, the cost of materials has gone down, availability has gone up. And so what we're looking at is a situation where they can reduce prices. And you can see that what they've done in 2023 is reduce prices. So of course, the one narrative about this is that they're doing a price war to take away market share from ICE cars and from other EV models. But what Elon is saying, and this is part of their master plan since 2006, since the original master plan part one, reduce prices, reduce prices, reduce prices. So what they're trying to do is transition the world to sustainable energy. And what needs to happen in order to make that happen is that they need to reduce prices. So yeah, eventually a Model 2 car is going to come out of Mexico, but that's a couple of years away at the earliest at this point. What they can do in the meantime is make the Model Y and Model 3 more affordable. And right now, of course, you've got $7,500 tax credits, but half of that is likely going away, at least for the Model 3 at this point. So, you have to kind of look at this, that some of these price drops are also going to be counterbalanced by lessening of the tax credit, at least in the United States. And so you're going to see kind of a balancing act going on. But it's actually, in my mind, a great sign that Tesla is able to continue to reduce prices like this. Now, it's going to be very interesting on the 19th, which is just a few days away, when they report their earnings from the first quarter, because that is going to reflect these price cuts. And if their profit margins go down really a lot, that's going to be, for Wall Street at least, they're going to care a lot about this. I don't personally care. I actually think even if they're only making 5, 6, 7% profit margins on the cars, that's totally fine because they're in a growth mode right now. But if they're maintaining double digit and even above 20% profit margins, that is going to be mind blowing, because what that means is that they're reducing prices, but they're also driving down the cost to build these vehicles by so much that those two things are matching, and they're just passing the savings on to the consumer, which is fantastic. Now, is anybody else going to be able to match this? No, because they're either making negative profit margins on their EVs, or they're making tiny, tiny, tiny positive profit margins. And in either case, they can't afford to reduce the cost of their vehicles. At least they can't do that long term, right? They could be able to do that short term, but they're going to lose massive amounts of money if they don't keep the prices as high as they are. So Tesla is effectively going to eat up everybody else's market share, but it's just a side effect of what Elon's talking about here, which is to drive down prices to make them as affordable as possible to the mass market. Next up, from our friend Ava Fox in Tasmanian, we have Elon Musk registers artificial intelligence company X.AI. I went and looked at it. It still just says there's nothing there, so you can't really see anything yet, but it is very cool that they've got X.AI. So I would expect eventually we've got X.com, which is X Corporation, and now we're going to have X.AI, which will be its own subsidiary of X Corporation. That does mean it's going to be part of a private company, so there's going to be, it's not like Tesla where there would have to be a lot of oversight about what the AI team is doing. So this does give them a huge amount of flexibility. As I mentioned in the intro, a lot of us thought that this was all going to be rolled in as a subsidiary of Twitter, but it looks like it's going to be its own thing under the umbrella of X Corporation, which Twitter is under as well. So kind of it's under Twitter, but it's the new Twitter, which is X Corp. So let's read what we got here. Elon Musk has registered a new artificial intelligence company, X.AI, in Nevada. Interesting, it's in Nevada. I don't know. It could have something to do with, there's all the different states have different incorporation rules and everything. And so it just might be more convenient to do it there than in California. The mention of X in the title hints at its connection with the Everything app, something that Twitter will become in the future, kind of already is. Basically, it's already X Corporation. It just is not that in name. Elon Musk has created a new AI company called X.AI Corporation, registered in Nevada, the Wall Street Journal reported. The document showed that Musk is the only registered director of the company. Jared Burkall, the director of Musk's family office, is its secretary. X.AI has authorized the sale of 100 million shares of the privately held company. And that just basically means it's a C corporation and they have a whole bunch of shares and people can purchase into that. Not us lumpen proletariat, but if you know Elon and you have a bunch of money, you can buy a bunch of shares into X.AI. This information comes amid what was publicly revealed yesterday from people familiar with the matter that Musk wants to launch a new AI startup. Unnamed people said the team has already been partially formed, some equipment has already been delivered, and conversations with investors have already begun. And part of that equipment purchase, I believe, was 10,000 NVIDIA GPUs, but we're going to touch more on that in just a minute. The name of the new company, which contains X, hints that the project will be part of a new application for everything, which Musk has been talking about for several years. At the moment, it is known that the application will be built based on Twitter and is intended to become a place where people from all over the world can not only communicate, but receive various services, such as booking tickets for events, making online payments, etc. In other words, WeChat for the Western Hemisphere. Then jumping down, late last month, Musk joined AI tech leaders and researchers in calling for a 6-month pause in aggressive AI development. During this time, according to the letter, the industry must develop safety standards according to which development should take place. They must secure and prevent the potential harm that could be done to humanity by the race for AI. And then from yesterday, we have a reply to, asking the world to pause large-scale AI developments for at least 6 months by Rohit. And Elon Musk laughed and said, "I knew it was futile, but let the record show." Of course, one way of interpreting this is actually the GIF that Rohit actually posted, which is that Elon may have wanted people to slow down so that he could put his company in place and catch up. That may be a slightly cynical point of view, but also it would be a commercially wise point of view. Anyway, I don't think that Elon Musk or actually any of the people who signed off on this letter thought anything was actually going to happen. They were just making a statement so that they could say, "I told you so," later on when the world comes to a violent, horrible end, when the AI takes over. So anyway, as I say that partly tongue-in-cheek because I'm not nearly as much of a panic seller on this kind of stuff as a lot of people are. But I do believe that Elon Musk and the other people who signed off on this letter didn't believe it was going to happen. They were just trying to draw a line in the sand and say this should happen. But if you want to take a really cynical point of view, you could say that Elon Musk was trying to do this so that he could assemble a team and have 6 months to put it together and get things going so that they could catch up. I don't personally believe that, but one could argue that point. And then we get to a really interesting thread by Gavin Barker. Of course, I will leave a link to this in the description. I'm just going to touch on the beginning of it and then go down to Elon Musk's response. If only there were another data center GPU coming to market in a few months, one that benefited from OpenAI's Triton such that almost any algorithm in PyTorch could easily be run on it. And if you don't know, all the way back at AI Day Part 2, I was actually witness to PyTorch doing diffusion models on the Dojo chip. And speaking of Dojo, we can jump down to point number 7. Gavin says, finally, I think we will see Dojo enter the ring as a legitimate competitor for some workloads later this year. So basically, this would be a competitor to Google's TPUs or NVIDIA's kind of weirdly crossbreed H100s that are sort of neural processing units and sort of graphics cards. The interesting thing here, of course, is that Elon Musk responded to this by saying we've made some upgrades. So he's not denying that, and he's also saying it's better than it was back in September. Then Steve Jurvetson shows a really interesting plot of Moore's Law over the past 125 years or something. Anyway, from back in the mechanical days all the way up to now. And if we click on this, you can see that we've got Tesla Dojo way out there up in the lead, including over the H100 in terms of calculations per second per constant dollar. And Elon responds to this, useful compute per unit of energy is what will matter most. So that's interesting. He's not nearly as worried about money. I guess for large corporations, money is whatever, but it's that unit of energy, which effectively costs money. But it's like you can only expand this so much without running out of your energy budget. So that's what he's talking about. And Dojo, one of its major features, and certainly the mobile chips that are on Tesla vehicles, the idea is that they do this at a lower energy cost than most of the other systems out there. And Gavin Barker response to this, performance per watt per dollar will be everything as ever. Looking forward to the Starship launch, as are we all. And Elon responds to that, at scale you hit the limit of available power, so it's just useful compute per joule. The useful qualifier is important. So essentially we've always got Elon Musk dialing it back. Money is sort of a proxy for other things in this case, those things being the cost to construct these tiles or chips or systems or whatever it is that you're making. And then the other piece of that cost is the amount of dollars it costs to run those systems because it costs money to generate the electricity. But even more fundamentally than the money, like I said, that's just a proxy for the amount of energy you're using. You're going to run out of an energy budget either because you can't get that much energy, but even more importantly, you can't feed that much energy into a system without overheating it or having to have hugely expensive cooling systems and things. And we already know that like Dojo is liquid cooled. So when it comes right down to it, it's the amount of useful compute, which is actual, doing calculations that are useful per amount of joules that you are expending by running that chip at any given time. And of course, without saying that, what Elon Musk is implying is that Dojo is going to be better at that than any other chip out there, and that will be a huge advantage. And this indicates strongly to me that Dojo is going to be an important part of X.AI, and eventually they very well might broaden this out and allow people to be able to utilize their data centers, their Dojo data centers, to do their own training as well. And of course, that's something that Elon Musk and people at Tesla have mentioned before, is that eventually they might be able to have enough compute capacity to be able to let outside researchers use this. But in the meantime, we've got an interesting little synergy. Remember, I talked in a video recently, I'll put a link to this up here, that I was expecting to have Twitter and Tesla have a good synergistic relationship, even though I don't like that word. And one of those synergies is that Tesla has been developing this hardware here. So effectively, Tesla is sort of the NVIDIA here. And then we'll have Twitter/X.AI/X Corp, which is going to utilize that hardware to build software on top of that. So while X Corp has purchased about 10,000 GPUs from NVIDIA recently, if they throw onto that Dojo computing as well, they could have a significant advantage over other companies in terms of their ability to train. And remember that Dojo was built from the ground up for neural network training, whereas NVIDIA keeps kind of hacking their old systems to kind of put tensor processing units and neural processing units on top of that. So that means that, Dojo can be more efficient and can work better if it lives up to its expectations. And by all accounts, if Elon Musk is right, and if what other rumors I've heard are right, that Dojo is living up to and even exceeding its expectations. So this could be a very exciting future in the next 6 to 12 months. We'll have to wait and see what happens. All right, I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it fun and interesting and thought-provoking. If you did, please do like the video and also consider subscribing for more of this kind of content. As always, a huge shout out to my Patreon patrons and my YouTube channel members. Thank you all so much for your support. I truly do appreciate it. And if you want to join the team, just check out the link in the description. And if you're interested in a whole bunch of really cool merch, check out our merch store. Link is in the description. We have Tesla Bot t-shirts, the Tesla meme t-shirt, success is a possible outcome, 4680 battery cells. All of that stuff is on t-shirts, mugs, tumblers, and on. So check it out. And finally, don't forget we are both Tesla and Amazon affiliates. If you look in the description, you can see how going shopping for a solar roof, a power wall, or anything on Amazon helps out the channel. Oh, and go Starship. Let's light this candle. Bye-bye.